As-salamu alaykum, Barakah Babes.
Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hey Barakah Babes, As-salamu alaykum and welcome to Brownstones Barakah. We're your hosts, Farima and
Emilia.
here to create a safe space for Muslim women to grow, reflect, and embrace their faith. So grab some chai, some tea, some matcha, get cozy, and let's dive in.
Yes.
So today will mark our first episode, and today we'll honestly just be doing a quick introduction so you guys can get to know your host a little bit more.
Also, Ramadan Mubarak, guys.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Yes.
We're on day 3, right?
Yeah,
The day
day
we're filming this,
3.
it'll be day 3. I'm pretty sure when we upload probably like day 5 or 6, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But yeah, I hope you guys are having a really good start to Ramadan period. Like I was saying though, the first episode will be just us touching bases on what Brownstones Barakah is and me and Amelia's like journey with Islam. So I'm gonna pass the mic to Yaga, sis Emilia over here, and she'll start it off.
Hello, guys. This is so exciting. This first episode. I cannot wait. But before I start my story, I'll just give like a little intro, background story of who I am. So my name is Emilia. I am 19 years old. I will be 20 in October, inshallah. I currently go to school. I'm a sophomore in college and I'm studying bio. And what else you guys gotta know about? Oh, right. I'm from Queens, New York. Queens get the money, big Queens. Y'all already know.
Yes.
But my father, he is from Morocco, and my mother, she is from Ecuador. So big per, best of both worlds. We got South America, we got Africa. Like it could never get better than that. Yes. But yeah, okay, so I'll start with my story. I am actually a revert. I know you guys are probably surprised because my father is from Morocco, which is a predominantly Muslim country, and he is Muslim, but my mother is also Ecuadorian and very, very, very Christian, very strong in her faith. So, yeah, I think ever since I was a kid, my father worked basically the whole day. Like, I would never see my dad, only on the weekends. And, as kids, we go to school, and my mom, she basically took care of us. And she would bring us to church. She would make us read the Bible before bed. I don't know. I was used to I was just used to praying to Jesus, like dinner tables and stuff like that. So my whole childhood, I was just like, oh yeah, like this is normal. Like I guess everyone prays to Jesus. I guess Jesus is God, like astaghfirullah. But that's what I believed in when I was younger.
So you basically just born into Christianity.
Yeah, like I was basically that's what I thought, And I'm a kid, so I'm oblivious. I had no idea that Islam and like Judaism and all that was a thing. I really thought that it was just Christianity, like the only religion. And so I went to
That's how it was for me.
yeah, like I don't know, like that's the way like my mama raised me. That's how I felt. So yeah, I went to church like Bible study. I went to church events, like all girls church clubs, stuff like that. And I had known nothing about my dad's religion or where he came from. Like, y'all, I swear I was convinced that Morocco was from the Middle East. That's what everyone would tell me. Like, I swear everyone would tell me, oh, you're Middle Eastern, you're Middle Eastern. I was like, oh, yeah, so I'm Middle Eastern. I would walk around school confidently saying, I'm Moroccan, aka in the Middle East. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, that's embarrassing. But yeah, so I obviously identified as Christian, but I would say maybe 7th to 8th grade, like end of 7th grade, beginning of 8th grade, that's when I slowly but surely lost my faith in like Christianity. Like I don't know what happened.
Like you felt like you didn't necessarily like your heart wasn't within Christianity.
Yeah. I think let me tell y'all. There was this one time that I was in church. It was me and my brother because we're only a year apart, so we were put in the same group. And the lady who was teaching, she had said something about Islam. And although I didn't know too much about it, I knew how my dad would pray at home, and like I knew a little bit of knowledge about Islam.
Okay, so your dad was practicing in front of you, like
Yeah, he
you seen him
was.
make salah.
Yes, but I
didn't know what it was.
No, I don't, not at all. She had said something completely wrong about Islam, and I wish I could remember what it was, y'all, but I literally can't. And me and my brother, we spoke out. We were like, "No, that's not true. Like my father's Muslim. Like that's not what they do. Something like that." I think she mentioned something about prayer. And I was just like, I think that was the turning point for me. I'm like, wait, she just lied in front of all those kids like it was nothing. And I bet you if me and my brother weren't there, like she wouldn't have corrected it or nothing.
Yeah.
So I was just like, dang, like I feel bad. Like I don't like that. And it was my brother who stopped going to church first. I remember. And I used to ask him like, oh, why don't you want to come anymore? And he wouldn't tell me, so I was just like, okay. And I would go with my mom. And then at one point, I had a conversation with my brother. I was like, "Can you tell me like why you don't go to church anymore?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't believe in Christianity. Like I'm Muslim." And I looked at him. I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, like I don't think that Jesus is the son of God or God." And he was just explaining a lot to me, and he kind of put it in perspective for me. At first, I didn't believe it automatically, but it definitely did roll my mind because that's still my
Yeah.
brother. Whatever he says, he's my older brother. I'm gonna listen to it, you know. And then I started doing my own research. I guess it was like 8th grade, entering 9th grade as well. I started reading about Islam. I started asking my father
Same.
questions. And I transferred high schools, which helped me be around a lot of African Muslims.
That's
Like,
really where me and Amelia went. Where is that? Is
yes.
that where we went?
Yeah, we went
Oh,
to high
yeah.
school. And it was like 90% of the school were African Muslims.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Like,
Yeah, we were heavy on African Muslim.
so I was asking a bunch of questions. And I guess it kind of gave me my clarity, you know? But in the process of that, me and my mom, I'm not gonna lie, like I love her to death. And I'm forever grateful that she has such a strong faith in her religion because it also is inspiring for me. But we did conflict a lot. Like there was a lot of conflict between us. And I think out of all three of her kids, I was the one who had the strongest faith in
Okay.
Christianity. Yeah. So for her, it was kind of like, where is this coming from? Like who, you know?
Like who's influencing?
Yeah, who's influencing me or like what's making me not want to be Christian anymore? But it was all me, y'all. Like for real, that was all my decision, you know? And then COVID happened, and my father and I, like, we were watching a lot of videos. We were getting closer. He was teaching me about Morocco. So I did find out, y'all, that it's in North Africa. Like, I'm not slow.
So at that point during COVID, were you Muslim or were you still like just like learning more information, seeking knowledge on?
I was Muslim adjacent
Okay. What?
because,
You want to tell the people what that means?
yes. So basically, obviously, I didn't take my Shahada yet, but between Christianity and Islam, I was leaning more towards Islam. So I would have considered myself Muslim adjacent. When my mom would pray at the dinner table, I wouldn't say like amen anymore. And she noticed it. And she used to call me out for it. She was like, "Why don't you say it anymore?" I was like, "I don't know. Like I just didn't feel right to me." And then in 2020, I took my shahada with my father. I was crying. I was crying, y'all. Like that was such an emotional day for me, but
You
I
gotta
was
walk us through that day because I don't think you ever told me.
okay, okay. I was in my room and my dad had given me a few books. He was like, "Okay, take these books so you could study and you could learn." And I was like, "Okay, Baba." And mind you, it's COVID, y'all. We had nothing to do. I wasn't trying to do my homework or anything, so I found anything to do but my schoolwork. So I was reading the books, and then I think it was a story about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like I don't remember what exactly it was, but I just started bawling my eyes out,
Crying.
crying. Like I was crying, Freema. Like I was crying tears. And I was in my bed alone and I was just like, "Oh my god, like why do I feel this way?" So then I started playing the Quran on my phone. And bro, when I tell you that was the most peace I've ever felt in my whole life.
Girl, I'm telling you, open your heart up to Islam. Allah will make sure your life is real peaceful.
For real. And I went to my dad. He was in his room sitting on his bed just watching soccer. Y'all know African fathers and they love soccer like. And he looked at me, he was like, "Oh my god, like what's wrong?" And I was like, "Baba, I want to take my shahada. Like I want to be Muslim." And I remember his face, like he was cheesing so hard. First of all, before I even took my shahada, he gave me a hug and a kiss on my forehead. And then I stopped crying like a little baby. And I took my shahada. And then I started crying again. Alhamdulillah. And then yeah, like from that day forward, that was basically it. So that's kind of my story. Um
So after you became Muslim, you took a shahada. How was life looking like for you? Like, how were you like struggling and juggling with being like a new Muslim?
oh my gosh. No shade to Well, no shade, but all shade to people in high school. I was getting bullied. Like they were dragging me on Snapchat.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. Yeah.
I remember it was like during COVID, they would do like the anonymous links,
Yeah.
and people would just talk about me like crazy, or like people would talk behind my back but support me in my face and be like, "Oh, like she's a fake Muslim, like she's not actually Muslim, she's doing it for show," or like because most of us were, I mean majority of the students were Muslim, they were like, "Oh, you just want to fit a trend or something." And as a revert, that hurt me so bad because you would think like I'm a revert, you're supposed to be
If anything, I feel like as a like
encouraging, you know?
that school being a lot of born Muslims, I feel like if anything, like we should have been coming up to you with open arms, accepting you, and giving
Yeah.
you more knowledge about Islam.
Yeah, and I can't think, like, I don't think anyone did that for me. On the top of
Really?
my head, I don't think anyone did that for me. No, I was just getting so much hate for no reason, and, like, at one point, I did think, "Oh, yeah, maybe I am a fake Muslim." And I
Bro.
wasn't learning how to pray, nothing. I was just like, "Bro, why am I, like," like, it's fresh. I was a fresh
Yeah,
Muslim, so I didn't understand it. I was just like, "Damn, like, everyone in this school who were born Muslims, like you said, are telling me that I'm a fake Muslim or, like,
that hurt.
I don't belong." I believed it. And then on top of that, with my identity, like, I was just figuring out, "Oh, wow, like, my father's actually from Africa." People were telling me I'm not African, and I was just like, "Bruh, like, what am I then?" Like, like, I just
I don't
didn't
know. It
know.
seems so difficult. Like I feel like at that time you kind of have like identity crisis.
Yes, I was
Like,
having a hardcore identity crisis, y'all, and it made me very depressed, but alhamdulillah, like, I
period.
overcame that. I'm much stronger. I can take a lot more now, but no one really bothers me anymore.
Okay, but when did it start getting good? Like I don't know. I feel like Allah puts people through like really a lot of like tribulations and like
Mhm.
trials. When did it start to get good after you went through you like got through all of that?
I would say my senior year.
Okay.
Junior year it was 50-50. Some people still had slick things to say, but it wasn't bad on my end. Like, it didn't really affect me in a way. But senior year, I don't know. I would say senior year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, like y'all, she just stared at me like
Okay, another thing that I'm really curious about is the hijab because alhamdulillah now that you're hijabi,
Mhm.
how did you come about, starting to wear the hijab the first time? So let's put it like I know the first time you wore the hijab, you weren't a fully hijabi then, but when did you
Yeah.
become a full hijabi and also how did you feel the first time you put on the hijab?
Okay, so my very, very first time was during COVID, but it failed. I wore it for like 3 days and I stopped because I didn't really know the meaning of the hijab and why we wore it, and I was just trying to look cute. Because, like, I don't know, like, I have a lot of friends in that high school who are hijabis and they look beautiful in the
Beautiful.
hijab. Allahumma barik. Shout out to Icy. Shout out to Farima. Like, they look gorgeous in the hijab, and I wanted to look the same, and I just didn't. So I was doing it for the wrong reasons. But senior year, man, like, it was like a week or two before Ramadan. I just decided, let me just cover my hair. And I feel like my iman increased so much that when I put the hijab on, I looked better. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's the nude on your face, girl.
Yes,
I'm
it's the nude,
telling
bro. I swear. So I was like, wait, I like this. So I started wearing the hijab, and then the whole month of Ramadan, I know you remember this
you.
because
Yeah.
I was wearing the hijab, and then I challenged myself. I was like, okay,
After Ramadan.
after Ramadan, like, I'm gonna keep wearing the hijab and see how long I last. And I never took it off. Till this day, I never took it off.
Wait, that's when you became hijabi for real?
Yeah.
That year? Oh
Yes.
my god, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, girl. I did not show my hair, and I was like, it was to the point where I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should take off the hijab for prom or for graduation, but
And
I
I'm so
felt
glad you took it off.
yes.
I feel like a lot of people here, like no shade and like no offense, not to make like judge anybody, but I feel like for a lot of big events such as weddings, like a girl's wedding or her prom, they like to take it off because they feel like you can't be beautiful with the hijab on. But like ladies, like
That's wrong.
yeah, y'all are beautiful with the hijab.
Yes.
Like
Allahumma
y'all
barik.
look better with the hijab on.
Yes, y'all look. And I read something where it was like the hijab is meant to fit every single woman's
No
face.
shade.
Every single
Everybody
woman.
face. So like a lot of girls who like are not comfortable with their face shape, they may have a round face, a chubby face. Girl, there's a different hijab style for everybody.
Yeah, like.
Don't ever feel like Well, back on topic, girl.
But yeah, I didn't take. It was to the point where I felt uncomfortable thinking about it. I'm like, nah, I don't want to show my hair, even though technically everyone knew what I looked like with my hair.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So I wore the hijab, and
Period.
I'm really grateful that I did. But there's one thing I wanted to touch on. 8th grade. Shout out to Ilham. Like, she was my best friend at the time, and she was a hijabi since I think elementary school. And I remember the day that she went from showing her hair to coming to school the next day with the hijab on. I remember it was like 3rd grade, 2nd or 3rd grade. I remember that. And I still didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what she was. But she was definitely the person I started asking questions first about Islam. Like, yeah, we would teach each other. I would teach her about Christianity. She'll teach me about Islam. And I never told her this, but like, slowly but surely, the things she would tell me, I was like, wait, that kind of makes sense. Like,
Oh, she clapped you a little.
yeah, she clocked me. She clocked me. So big shout out to her. But yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I always thought she was gorgeous in the hijab. Allahumma barik.
God.
Always, 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 bro. So yeah, big shout out to you, sis, if you're listening.
Period.
And yeah, yo, that's my story. So this is me now, starting a whole Muslima podcast. Like that's crazy. I would have never thought.
No
Would have
shade.
never thought. But yeah, now y'all, we're gonna transition to Farima's story.
Farima the door. Okay, you guys. So first, I want to start with As-salamu alaykum, ladies. Thank you so much for listening. For people who even got to this point, because I think we're like 15, 20 minutes in. So if you're still listening, thank you so much. My name is Farima, period. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx specifically. Um, I'm the first daughter of two immigrant parents. Both of my parents come from West Africa, Mali, both of them. So Mali's a predominantly Muslim country, so it's best to assume that I grew up Muslim basically. But I feel like one thing that people tend to like mix up that if we're born Muslim, we already like know everything about Islam or we're like set with Islam. I kind of feel like yeah, I was born Muslim, but I still had to find Islam on my own, if that makes sense. So growing up, I would see my parents pray all the time. I would see them pray 5 times a day. And I really wouldn't know what it was or what it meant and what they were doing. And there would be someone that would just like not force us, but like round us all up. I have two other siblings, so it was three of us in the house. You just be like, come pray.
Mm.
Me being the only girl, I would just be in the back and I'll be praying. Like I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't really know much, like no shade. And then I would also be hearing Quran at home. And I would hear my dad recite the Quran at home as well. So like, it's like I'm exposed to it, but like, do I really know the meaning of it? Do I know what it symbolizes? Do I know what I'm really doing? So honestly, I didn't really realize I was Muslim until like the 5th grade. And that's simply because 5th grade, that's when I was in school with Muslim people, but it was like really, really like scarce. Like it was like three or four or five Muslims, you know?
You
But
went to elementary in the Bronx, right?
yeah,
So it was like Hispanics people.
yeah, Hispanic.
So they were like Christian Catholics.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But then as elementary school, there was a lot of Muslims, but like at that time, like I don't know, I feel like I was kind of young, so I didn't really know like
Yeah, you
really
were
much.
oblivious. That's what
Yeah.
happens when you're kids, bro.
I
I
think
swear.
we're really 6th grade is when I like obviously I went through puberty and I'm realizing more about myself. So it's like 6th grade girl, my school was literally full of middle school just full of like real talk, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, they were Africans. They were like a good little section of Africans, but I feel like in my grade specifically, I was just exposed to like a lot of like Dominicans, Christians, like of that nature. People who are just honestly just not like me, like opposites of me, no shade. So my friend group mostly were Christians. Think about like Dominican Christians. So I was just exposed to that. They were talking about their religion, their culture, and it was to the point where like I kind of felt left out. Not only being left out to feel Muslim, but also like feeling embarrassed to be African. Because I feel like at that
Wait,
time,
that's so sad.
yeah, like at that time, like I feel like if you're African, you kind of know, like they would like literally like make fun, like make you feel bad for being African. So that's how it was for me. So
Oh yeah, like
imagine,
the jokes and
yeah,
stuff.
like
Yeah, I
the
remember
little
those
like
jokes.
jokes they
Yeah.
would make and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and with me being embarrassed to be Muslim, my parents never introduced me to the hijab like growing up. Like I know most people like in this like community, especially in New York, they started wearing the hijab young. So like it was kind of like not forced upon them, but like they grew up with it. So me, I could easily get by saying I'm not Muslim. I could easily get because I was not wearing the hijab at the time. Even though like I had a really ethnic name, like girl, people was not clocking my tea back then. So I this one specific moment in middle school, I remember. I think I want to say 6th or 7th grade. I was in a global history class, and my teacher, she was Indian. Like you could tell she knew about Islam, but she didn't know too much. So like me and being in that class, we were learning about I think Egypt, ancient Egypt or something like that. At the time, I believe I was the only Muslim in the class. So she came up to me and she tried to be kind of quiet about it, but girl, like everybody heard her, no shade. And everybody heard her, like
Yeah, we
she was like,
nosy kids.
Farima, she was like, Farima, I can't help but notice like your name is ethnic. Like it seemed like you're like she knew I was from like West Africa. It was kind of obvious. She asked me if I'm Muslim. Like what's my religion? She wants to have people like what's like. There's no other way to really teach the kids about Islam without having like an actual Muslim person speak about it. So she asked me, but I was like, I remember me just being so hesitant to speak about it. She asked me if I was Muslim. I was just being so hesitant to speak about it. I was like, yeah, like I have my parents are Muslim, but like I don't really like, And like I remember doing that. Like just looking back at it, girl, like I wanted to give like younger me a hug. Like today, I would literally give younger me a hug, cause girl,
Same.
yeah, I was so hesitant to answer. So as I got older, I started learning more about Islam, what Islam really is, what the hijab truly represents, and low-key, I'm still on journey. Alhamdulillah, I'm still on journey. Like I didn't really lose faith or anything. I think my faith in my Imam is increasing times 10 per day. So then let's go into high school. High school is when I really feel like I really like discover my identity for real. So 9th grade, first day of school, there was this one girl. she knows she is. No shade. Like me and her went to the same elementary school, but like we didn't really speak in elementary school like that. But we were familiar. Like we knew each other. So I seen her in high school. First day of school, I like went up to her, I was like, girl, like, is this really you? Like, it's been years since we seen each other. And like, no shade, she's Muslim. She's Gambian. So like, Sarong Kole Gambians, like, I feel like they really, like, I kudos to y'all. I feel like I give y'all props. I feel like y'all are born into Deen and y'all actually learn
Like
Deen.
very religious, yeah.
Like, I give y'all. So you could, want to be like religious. Anybody can be religious, but like, y'all really be like on Jesus.
On
Shout out
Deen,
to y'all.
yeah.
So she was Sarong Kole Gambian. So she would always educate me about Islam. And she was the first person who helped me tie my, like, at the time, a turban. Like, that's what I was always covering my hair. So as you know, I think it's step by step when you want to wear the turban. So she literally helped me. I remember her in the bathroom helping me tie my turban. That was the first day I came to school with it. Literally helped me.
Wait, shout out to you. That's so
shout out to you. Like,
sweet.
trying to reward you for the things you do. Like,
I mean,
and all the like the knowledge you have gave me about Islam. Because girl, like I feel like you were kind of like the foundation factor for me, like being the person I am today, the Muslim woman who I am today. Mashallah.
mashallah, Allahumma barik.
And as I got older, I was on and off with the hijab. I'm not gonna lie. I had transferred out of school, and that's when I went to the same school as Emilia. So, like she said, it was like a heavy populated Muslim community there. So, like, you know, but still, even that, like, no shade. Like, I would just be like, yeah, I'm Muslim, but like, was I really Muslim? Like, you know, I wasn't really. I was covering my hair only like when my hair was not done. And I started like, may Allah forgive me, because girl, like, I was working. Like, if you know me, again, high school girl, every month I had another color wig on, braids on. That's supposed to my sense of may Allah forgive me, but I just want to be like real about it. Like,
yeah.
Yes, it wasn't until Ramadan I will obviously cover and do this, like, you know, it wasn't until honestly after I graduated I started to really take the hijab serious, you know?
Yeah. I remember. Oh my
It's after I
God.
graduated when I took my hijab serious. So I believe that summer after I graduated, no, the summer after that, that's when I literally put on my hijab and never took it off. And you know, like I feel like for my birthday, I told you I was the type of girl, like if my hair was not done, I would put on the hijab, but like girl, like for my birthday, I want to be able to represent Islam and do my big one with it and look good. Cause I feel like my problem before as to why I didn't necessarily like stick to the hijabs, I didn't feel beautiful without it. I think that's the problem a lot of girls have. They put on the hijab, they don't feel beautiful with it.
Yeah, you guys try, like, not you guys specifically, but I notice a lot of girls try and beautify it.
Yeah, like not to judge and not to like, you know, but like a lot of girls like try to like show some hair, 2 strands of hair out, like, you know, edges out. I'm not gonna lie. I used to be that.
Yeah, I'm guilty of
girl.
that. I'm not gonna lie. Even till this day, I still have urges. I'm like, dang, I want to wear a turban with some,
Yeah,
like, my
like,
edges sleek, or like,
because when I like my turban era, girl, I just was out.
yeah.
Like,
I still be having the urges. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I still be having the urges.
so don't feel like you're like necessarily like a bad Muslima for thinking that, because girl, we all have those urges.
Yeah, it's normal.
It's all about if you fight the urges.
Exactly.
Where was I? So yeah, I will wear the hijab. I'm trying to like, I was really skeptical about keeping it on, but then when I kept it on, I was like, wow, like I could really never go back. Then I would get, I think the only thing at the time I had was chiffon. So chiffon, like, if you a chiffon girl, you already know the struggle with chiffon girl. Like,
Yes.
it slips. It's so hard to keep it. Like, y'all already know the tea with that. So then, alhamdulillah, I want to say last year, I met my friend Mamita. So she introduced me to Jersey.
Oh my God, big shout out to Mamita, bro. We love you. We love you.
Well, I already had Jersey at the time, but I was not heavy on Jersey. But like when I like seen her, I feel like just seeing the way how like she tied it and it made her look so good. And me have like similar face shape. I was like, wait, I need that. I need that. So I remember me and her literally going hijab Jersey shopping, and I ended up getting like 3-4 hijabs. And like when I say like that era, girl, my Jersey era, like that was so sweet. Like I'm wearing a Jersey like as we speak. Like that was my thing. So yeah, I think especially like her, especially I think she really made me like really love myself with the hijab on. Like back then, I knew I was that girl. I knew I was pretty. I don't know about it.
You still are.
I feel like it's like my friend group, especially like them all being Muslim. So many of them really made like contributed to like me really loving myself with the hijab to the point where like no shit, I don't see myself ever taking this hijab off.
Inshallah, we never take it off. Inshallah.
And also last Ramadan, I feel like that's when I really locked in. So like bad girl.
Yes, last Ramadan did us great. Like
memorizing surahs, reading the Quran, taking initiative to sign up for Arabic classes. Like girl, it was just so much stuff. Like seeking knowledge on my own, learning stories about the Prophet. So much things, like learning fiqh, like it was just so much important things that I feel like really contributed to the Muslim woman that I am today. And I feel like I'm yapping. Let me end this off. Like I'm still on this journey. Not just as like me and Amelia, we're both still on this journey. And I feel like learning that finding your dean on its own timeline is okay, and there's no need to rush the process. There's no like it's not, like the time like it takes 5 years, it could take 10 years, it could take tomorrow.
Mhm.
There's still barakah in the process. So don't ever feel like you have to rush or feel like you're behind simply because you see another sister doing her big one, you know?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, we all sin behind doors, closed doors. I feel like that's something a lot of. Oh, one last thing that I want to touch upon. I feel like when I transitioned into a hijabi, some of my Muslim friends who like don't wear the hijab yet, they automatically thought, "Oh, like you're much better than me just because you wear the hijab." And that's one thing that I want to touch on. Just because I wear the hijab does not mean I'm better than you. Does not mean that I'm not a sinner anymore. It doesn't mean you should start comparing me and you because at the end of the day, like you never know what I'm doing behind closed doors, and I don't know what you're doing behind closed doors. You feel me? We all sin. Like that's one thing that I want a lot of people to understand. And if you're listening to this and you're not a hijabi, like just know we are not judging you because at the end of the day, like this is literally our journey. We were not hijabis our whole life either. You feel me? And it's like as long as you're praying, you're seeking guidance
And knowledge.
and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness and actually putting in the effort to try, then
Allah
there's
will always show you mercy.
exactly, and there's no need to compare, like just because a woman is wearing a hijab or the niqab does not mean they're better than you. And I want y'all to know that, like,
And no shit, I'm pretty sure we all seen in TikTok where it literally shows you that the girl who wears the niqab outside every day dressed much, she can still be sitting behind doors and she can still be missing her prayers, while the girl who probably goes outside not wearing hijab probably still goes back home every single night and begs Allah and prays Allah to become a Muslim and just to be that niqab girl.
exactly.
So I never feel like because your next sister is wearing a niqab, my next sister is wearing a hijab, and she's so much better than you. Like, no, girl, we're all, in the eyes of Allah, we're all the same and we're all equal. Let's never forget
We're
that.
all his servants at the end of the day. That's it. That's all. So,
SubhanAllah, reflecting on our journey reminds me that there's no two paths to Allah and they're all the same. And that's the beauty of it. So if there's one piece of advice I'll give to any Muslim out there is to give yourself grace. Whether you're just starting to learn about Deen or reconnecting with it, know that Allah sees every small effort you make, and there's no such thing as like so much barakah in the journey itself.
I 100% agree with that. We're all figuring out in our own way, and that's perfectly okay, y'all. Like for real, that's perfectly okay. That's the whole point of the test in this dunya. Like the most important thing is to just keep your heart open and seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through whatever stage you're at. And this podcast, that's really what it's about, having these honest conversations because we're all sisters, we all go through it. Not even just the sisters too, the brothers out there, like we all go through it. If y'all are listening, right? But yeah, these honest conversations about faith, self-love, girlhood, and everything in between. We're just so excited to have you guys on this journey with us because at the end of the day, like I said, this is a test for all of us. We're all going through it together, and inshallah, we all make it to Jannah.
Inshallah. So now that we're done wrapping up both of our journeys, if you do want to touch bases on what Brownstones and Barakah is, like we have so much coming your way, inshallah, from deeper conversation on identity and modesty to beauty. Sister girl, we're gonna be here all day talking.
No, for real.
But yeah, just to let you guys know we're based in NYC, so the community in NYC, I feel like we needed something like this.
Yeah, I agree.
So Amelia, I want to ask you,
Yes, ma'am.
what is Brownstones and Barakah for you? What does it mean to you?
Honestly, Brownstones and Barakah, this is honestly something that I wish I had when I was going through my journey.
Yeah,
Like this is a safe space for me. I can just be honest, be my authentic self, and yeah, like I don't know. I feel like it's a way for us to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also learn a lot more knowledge because not only are we gonna teach you guys, but we're also learning in the process. And yeah, I feel like we started this podcast. Honestly, it was just we yap a lot, y'all. Me and Farima, we yap everywhere we go. We go to cafes. We cafe hop like crazy. Cafe hop. We yap always. We're always giving each other dawah, and we were just like, why don't we start a podcast?
Yeah, one thing that we noticed, I feel like when me and you react, it always related back to
Islam,
Like,
yes.
it's one big thing.
And I love that so much because I feel like friendships like that are so necessary. It keeps you on track. And I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate you.
Oh.
So yeah, that's what it means to me. But how about you? What does it mean to you?
Brownstones and Barakah, like you said, I feel like me and her were literally just sitting down one day, was like, we should start a podcast. I feel like you said, I wish I had people who come from the same background as me to give me advice because I feel like they don't understand it so much more.
Yeah.
And I also think it's important that we have these safe spaces for girls to, express their problems because I feel like, I don't know, whenever I see girls talk about their problems, I feel like it's so generalized. Nobody really gets in depth about, damn, like it's so hard to like stick to wearing a hijab. It's
Yeah.
like even some sisters that struggle with praying for them today. I feel like that used to be me.
Me
Like
too.
I feel like like once we get to the place where like we make better habits for ourselves, we tend to forget how hard the struggle was. I think that's really what it was for me. I feel like I really wish I had somebody in my ears giving me advice when I was struggling with Islam and becoming a better Muslim.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's really the beauty of it. And I really genuinely hope that Brownstones Barakah becomes a safe space for you guys, or just how like it's becoming a safe space for me and able to vent and talk to you guys about our problems.
And also, feel free to hit us up on Instagram. We will reply to y'all for real.
Our
Like,
DMs are always really open, so do not ever feel like, you know, like, because we're a podcast, you going bougie. No, girl, we were like, if you text us have a problem, be responding to that DM.
no, for real. Like, we're gonna respond. Don't worry about it, y'all. Like, we are your besties now.
We're your besties. We're your sister besties, your Barakah besties, your Barakah babes, sisters.
Your Barakah queens. We are the Barakah queens. Y'all are our Barakah babes. Like, come on.
Don't ever feel like, you know, like you're embarrassed to respond. Like, I know a lot of girls, especially the reverts, like, you might not have like a Muslim sister or anybody in your family Muslim to like talk to, girl. DMs are open. Don't ever feel hesitant.
Period.
But I am so super excited. We have so much guys and so much things in store for you guys, genuinely. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, and it was so good talking to you guys. And just know our next episode will be coming very soon.
Inshallah. So stay tuned.
Tune in.
Make sure to subscribe and share with your sisters and send us any thoughts or questions. We want this to be a community built on love, growth, and barakah. So, with that being said, y'all, thank you for tuning in to our little corner of the brownstone. As we wrap up, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your efforts with barakah, fill your life with happiness, and guide you towards success. Take care, Barakah Babes, and we'll see you in the next episode, inshallah.